Hello and welcome back to Crafted by Corie. If you're new, I'm Corie. Welcome to my channel. If you are returning, thank you as always for being here. This is part of a collaboration, so let's go ahead and get right on into the crafting and I'll tell you more about it in a minute. DIY number one. Okay, well, I am throwing some florals around here, but I have a a wreath form, a grapevine wreath form, and a bunch of florals that I was pulling over. You're also going to see my phone kind of popping in there every once in a while. I had it on a contraption around my neck trying to get another angle shot, and I'm still trying to figure that out. So forgive the phone that is in the shot there, but I have a bunch of, I'm going to call them florals, but they're really fall leaf picks. These off-white ones are from the Dollar Tree. I thought they were really cute because they had pumpkins in them. I didn't get them this season. I got them last season. So I'm not sure if they have them this year or not. I've not been into the Dollar Tree in a little bit. So I'm not positive, but they are so cute and pretty. I cut them apart, true to fashion, because if you followed me for any length of time, you know I always cut all my picks apart. And I am tucking them into the wreath form one at a time, just spreading them out around the wreath. Now, I'm not using any kind of hot glue or adhesive on this. I do find that the grapevine wreath does hold it pretty securely for the most part. Every once in a while I'll find a spot where it's a little bit looser, but generally speaking, when I stick these in there, they're pretty secure. I mean, I can certainly pull them out again, but they're not going to just fall out on their own. So because I will keep this in an indoor location, I'm not worried about that. If you were to be putting it out on a front door, for example, I do recommend that it be a covered area because the elements will damage your wreath otherwise. But if you are planning to do that, you might want to use hot glue just to make sure that everything is nice and secure. So I am going to continue to tuck these in and around until I have it to where I want it with the off-white. And then I am going to come in with some of that purple that you might have seen me throwing on there at the very beginning of the video. Here it is. This is also from the Dollar Tree. And I thought it might look really pretty with the white because even the off-white has a little tinge of pink and purple in it. It's kind of hard to see here, but I thought it might complement it, and I was really pleased with the result. Actually, what I was a little more hesitant about was the orange that you might have seen me toss to here it is. So these are actually from Hobby Lobby. I'm already still debating whether I'm going to like these colors together, but I figured, you know what, I can always pull them out. I'm not gluing it. So I went ahead and cut my pick apart, and I am going to go ahead and try and tuck some of these in and see what I think. And honestly, I was pleasantly surprised by how pretty all of this looked together. So the off-white and the purple and the oranges and the greens, it actually looked really, I'm thrilled with this wreath. This one is not going anywhere. It is already actually on my front door, on the inside of my front door, because I love how this turned out. But I'm going to continue to tuck that stuff around in there until I get it to where I want it. I actually decided not to go with that last pick. And now I have, these are like dried, they look like dried flowers, but they're definitely are pods. And then it almost looks like they used corn husk to create some flowers. And then there are some others that are almost like a wood flower, like, I want to say soba flower. I'm getting the wrong word, but hopefully you know what I'm talking about. But I thought they were really pretty. And I'm pulling out just that flower piece that's in with this other, I don't know what those are, some sort of twigs or something. You might see little brooms being made with that. If you know what that is, drop me a comment and let me know what it is, because I do not know what it's called, but I just set that aside. I'm actually going to use it in the next project, but I'm tucking the rest of the flower pieces and pods in and around, and I love this. Let me know what you think. So, as I mentioned before, this is a fall collab with some of my fellow crafters. It's hosted by Liyana DIY, and joining us is DIY with Amber, as well as Lori Bly DIY, DIY Next Door, and also Farm Charm Chic. They are all fantastic. I hope that you'll go and check out their videos. There's a full playlist. The link is pinned in the comments and my description box. So please go out and give them some love. DIY number 2. All right, so here is that scrubby stuff. I'm not sure what this is. Twigs. I don't know what it is, but I thought it was kind of neat looking. And I had seen something online with wheat froms. I don't even know if that's the right word, but it was kind of like a shelf sitter. And I thought, well, maybe I could put these together and create my own little pretty shelf sitter. They were all ready in bunches, and then I was just bunching the bunches together, and then decided I really didn't like the way that was looking because I've got a lot of the dark pieces they're almost black, and then there were some purple pieces. Sam Dog is here shaking next to me, so sorry about the noise if you can hear him in the background. But I decided I was going to pull it all apart and unbunch the bunches because I wanted the purple pieces to kind of be on the outside to lighten it up, but they were also much prettier than just these little twig things. So I am just gathering this all back up again, making sure that it's all nice and even, making sure that the bottom is nice and flat so it will sit up on its own. And then I'm going to drop these other twigs with fun purple leaves on them. It's kind of hard to tell on the video, I think, the color of it, but when I do the close-up at the end, I think you might be able to see it a little bit better because they are actually very pretty. I wish I had more of the purple than the dark brown / black pieces, but I'm working with what I've got. So wrapping those all around the outside, and then I'm going to be ready to tie it back together at the bottom. I'm using one of the pieces of twine that came with the pieces originally. I had tied a slip knot to the one end and left a really nice long tail, and then I looped the other end through the slip knot hole and pulled it tight, and then I was able to just tie off the ends together. So that is how I got that attached. It actually worked quite well. So now I have some burlap ribbon that I'm going to use to make a bow around the base, just to make it look like it's nicely pulled together, making sure that my bottom is all flat. I'm going to cut off that length and secure it in the middle by tucking under the ends first. I tucked in the ends, but then I also folded over the corners of the ends into itself to make it look like that center part is coming together a little bit as if it actually is a tied bow. Hopefully that makes sense because it's going to be a little bit more narrow where the bow comes together if you think about tying a bow around something. So I want to give that illusion of having it to come together, but just using some hot glue there to adhere that, clipping off some of those little sticky things that were sticking out. And now I'm going to cut off another length of the ribbon with the to make my loops for my bow, right? And just making sure that it's going to be the correct size proportionally here because I don't want it to be too large. And then I'm going to cut off another length to make the center part of my bow. Now I did try to tie this without gluing that, but I quickly decided that it was more of a pain than it was worth. So I added a little tiny pinch of hot glue. Highly recommend. Save yourself the headache and just glue that a little bit so you've got one solid loop, and then you can tie it off and your ends won't start pulling out of your knot. Then I went ahead and dovetailed the ends. And once I have that all done, it's going to be ready to go ahead and adhere to that center part of my my ribbon wrap. So adding a generous amount of hot glue to the knot of my bow, and then just positioning that right over top of the wrap that I had already adhered to the bouquet, so to speak. So just making sure that that is good to go and cools nicely. And that is it. I hope you like this. I think it's something new and different, but let me know what you think. DIY number 3. All right, I have a wood round as well as my Dollar Tree Farm Life calendar. I'm going to be using the It's Fall, y'all, because it is a round shape, although I love that little truck image. I might have to come up with another project for that. And then I have those little half bead wood pieces. I guess they're called beads. They don't have holes in them. But anyway, I'm going to first of all trace around my wood round once I have it properly positioned over my image. And then I'm going to go ahead and cut that out. Once I have it all cut out, I'll go ahead and set that aside, and I'm going to grab my Mod Podge. And I'm going to give the wood round a really generous coat of the Mod Podge and set that aside to dry as well. I don't know why I said as well, because I don't have anything else drying at the moment. I'm thinking ahead to the rest of the project. But I'm going to pull out a bunch of these half wood circles, wood balls. They're half balls. And position them around the edge of my design. I'm just trying to make sure that I get the right number. And then once I have that set, I'm going to apply some Antique Wax by Waverly. I'm using a baby wipe to do this. I honestly made a big mess out of my fingers. I probably should have put them in a little baggie and smooshed them around with the wax, but I didn't. But all's well that ends well. So now my wood round is dry enough that I can go ahead and adhere my design to it. I love this method of using Mod Podge because it prevents my paper from wrinkling and getting all weird. So I waited until it was pretty much completely dry, put down my image, and now I'm ironing it. This is a piece of butcher paper that I have over top of it to protect it. I'm just using my little mini easy press, but you could totally use an iron. All right, I'm using my sanding block. My sanding block is pretty much dead, so I've wrapped another piece of sandpaper around it. I'm just continuing to use the block that way because it makes it a little bit easier when I'm doing things like what I was just showing you. And now I'm ready to put all of my little half circles, half balls around again, just getting them all lined up to make sure that they're still going to fit. I forgot that I was going to be sanding down my image a little bit, so I ended up using one fewer of these little half circles that I had stained. And I'm just doing them one at a time around the piece with the hot glue. I'm keeping them in position because I want to make sure I don't end up with a gap. So that is why I did it the way I did, because otherwise, guaranteed, I always end up with a gap, and it makes me crazy, even if I'm the only one who knows that it's there. So the next thing I need to do is create a hanger. This is some paper wrapped wire that I picked up from Amazon. And I am just making sure that my image is straight, or that I'm applying this on straight, just using some hot glue. And that was all there was to it. I love this, but let me know what you think. DIY number 4. All right, so this is Waterslide decal paper on which I had printed this design. I had printed it a while back and had it all prepped to use with my acrylic spray and everything, and I'll talk about that in a second. But I didn't use it at the time. I think it was last year, might have been the year before. So I've just had it in my stash because I don't like to throw anything away in case I need it. And I decided I was going to try to use it for this, but I realized that it wasn't mirrored. And I wasn't sure if it was going to work if I put it upside down. Now, what I mean by that, when you use Waterslide decals, you usually put the paper side on the surface that you're transferring it to, and you slide the paper out from underneath it, and then it adheres to your project, right? So I'm actually doing the opposite. I'm laying it face down with the paper on top and sliding the paper off of it. So I cut a little sample out to see if it was going to work because I wasn't sure if both sides of the decal were sticky, so to speak, but it worked just fine. I went ahead and wiped that off, but this is the Waterslide decal paper that I had used. It's by Hippo. You can find it on Amazon. It's in my Amazon store. And then the Aleene's Matte Finish Acrylic Spray. You want to make sure you spray your print out at least 3 times. You want 3 coats. It's going to protect the inkjet image from getting damaged, because here I'm soaking it in water. You want to soak it for 30 to 40 seconds until it starts sliding off of its backing, and then you're ready to apply it to the design. So you can see, and honestly it's easier to apply it this way in my opinion, but yeah, so nothing ventured, nothing gained, right? Going ahead and continuing with all of the little pieces. Now, I do recommend doing it in little smaller sections because the decals will kind of roll up on themselves. They get a little bit challenging to use when you're using much larger pieces of decal. So just a word to the wise, if you are able to piece your design together, I definitely recommend cutting it into separate sections and applying it in sections versus trying to do the entire thing all together. So once I had it pretty much dry, and I did use my heat gun to help it dry a little bit there, I'm grabbing out my dishwasher safe Mod Podge. Now this is a cutting board from the Dollar Tree that I've applied this to the bottom of, right? So when you look through it from the top, you'll be able to see the image, and that was why I'd originally wanted it mirrored, but it's working just fine like this. Applying this coat of dishwasher safe Mod Podge, because if I were not to seal it in and my design were to get wet, it would get damaged. Okay, so you want to make sure you're sealing your Waterslide decals, especially if you're going to have them around water. I let that first coat dry, and I'm applying a second coat of the dishwasher safe Mod Podge. Now, I have never put something in the dishwasher that was used, after I used the dishwasher safe Mod Podge, so I don't know if that's safe. So just saying, I will probably hand wash this to be completely safe. Okay, everybody, that's it for today. If you enjoyed the projects, please remember to give me a big thumbs up, leave me a comment, let me know which one was your favorite, and please remember to go out and check out that playlist and give all of my fellow crafters some love. And until the next time, be well, be kind, and make it a great day. Thank you so much for watching. Take good care. Bye.